Today we're comparing a $99 earphone with a $1,000 Endgame IEM. Leffen and Max have both volunteered as guinea pigs to see if regular people can tell the difference between the Olina SE, the Hype 2, the Monarch MK3, and the Prestige LTD. But most importantly, I'm curious to see if they think this whole audio thing is a scam, or is it actually worth the price? So in other words, we're talking diminishing returns. I gave Leffen and Max as much time as they needed, as well as hiding the prices, of course. And the results, I was genuinely surprised. So see for yourselves. Okay, so Leffen is, I would say, new to audio. So the only headphones he owns is the ones I gave him. It's the Sennheiser PC37 or something, the gaming one. So this guy is...
Am I wearing it correctly?
Pretty new. No, you're good. Just make sure it fits like the seal. And Max owns one IEM, the Zero, right? And what's the headphone you own?
It's the Bear Dynamics DT7070.
So this guy's more well versed in audio. more than his brother for sure.
I can only hear from one side.
What?
Yeah, plug in. This is Rogan. It's definitely very crisp.
Very crisp?
It's very crisp.
Yeah.
I think that it sounds pretty good in my experience.
Okay, well, what's your experience?
My experience is close to nothing. To be honest, everything stood out to me.
Okay.
Okay. But most particularly, I think the voice was like crisp. I can hear it's like almost like the singer is right beside me. The bass though, it doesn't feel like something special, but okay. I'm not really sure what to base my experience on. Yeah. But yeah, the voice.
The voice.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
My thoughts, if I have to rate it out of 10, I think it's a good 8. My guess is also that this is the mid-range one.
Mid-range, right?
I think there's a higher potential.
Higher potential.
To the sound.
Okay. How do you think the sound stage is? Does it feel like cramped, or does it feel like open, airy, big, like the stage?
It definitely sounds like it's like I'm in the hall somewhere. It definitely sounds a bit like there's some reverb going.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you say it's like big, medium, or just like very cramped?
Medium. Yeah, it's not very...
What's your reference?
My reference is nothing, bro.
Okay.
I'm ready.
This is also the same one, the Prestige LTD. Okay, so how was the Prestige LTD, Max?
It was very good, much better than I expected it to be. For some reason, I don't know, but it's really good. The vocals are very clear compared to the ones I have right now. It's a Sound Note Zero.
Okay.
The $20 one.
Okay, yeah.
And it's so much clearer than that one.
Yeah.
But the bass though I thought could be a little bit more punchier.
Okay.
More clear.
Yeah.
Yep. This is the first one I'm trying, but 8.5 out of 10.
8.5. Okay. So both said the LTD was really good, which is a great start because it costs 1.3K, but I was surprised both of them were able to pick out the lighter bass, which is pretty accurate, I would say. And Max especially pointed out the detailed and sharp transients on the LTD, which again is pretty on point. But let's see if they can tell the difference between the LTD and his younger brother, the Monarch.
This is definitely better.
Okay.
I think it's definitely better.
It's definitely better? Okay.
I can hear you better. It sounds more full. I need to get one of these. Fuck, for real.
Dude, Genius.
I need to get one of these.
Okay.
Enough with this $30 headset. Can I try a different song?
Sure, go for it.
Can't do that, bro. This is legal.
So I'm looking for more crispy guitar tones.
Okay.
It's like the singer's right here.
Alright, so what did you think of the Monarch Mark 3s?
First of all, the first impression of wearing it is already better because I don't know why, something about this guy, it fits better in my ear.
You have big ears then.
I got big ears.
Because those are one of the biggest, like one of the bigger ones. So you got big ears, yeah.
I have big ears, confirmed.
Confirmed.
And then the sound quality, I think it's because of the fit is better.
Yeah.
It does sound better in my ear. It's a good 8.5 or 9.
8.5 or 9, oh, high praises. So how much do you think this one is?
It's gotta be the... Wait, I think the one just now is the mid-range.
Okay.
The low range, the
okay, so there's $99, $299, $999, and $12.99.
Shit, let me look at the quality real quick. Okay, this one is a $9.99.
$9.99?
I'll be heartbroken because I want to get one of these. I think everything sounds more balanced. The bass wasn't quite as heavy, but this one is definitely up there.
So the bass is better?
The bass sounds better.
Okay, yeah.
According to
okay, yeah.
The vocals I couldn't really tell.
Okay.
Maybe my ears it's kind of messed up, but sounds kind of the same to me.
Okay, what about like the symbols and the sharper notes?
Sharper for sure.
This one's sharper?
This one's sharper for sure.
How do you feel about the soundstage?
Soundstage.
The soundstage, alright. The soundstage.
Wide
Kind of the same.
Kind of the same? Okay, alright,
I
yeah.
can't really tell.
It's fine, it's hard to tell. Soundstage is hard to tell, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of the same for me.
This is huge for real. This is huge.
Alright, Monarch Mark 3. Let's see how Max likes them or not.
This one is disappointing.
Whew,
After
disappointing.
hearing the good reviews from the previous person, I find the highs a little bit piercing for me. But the bass was definitely better though. It was punchier than the previous one.
Yeah. So would you say the previous one was smoother?
Yes, it would. Yes, and then also
That's
this
smooth,
thing
okay.
is a little bit too big for me. I think. Too
The
heavy.
size. Yeah.
So with the combination of that piercing thing and the weight,
Yeah.
I feel like I can't wear this for long term.
Ah.
For more
Okay.
than like an hour, I don't think I can wear this.
How do you feel the soundstage? Cramped? Open?
This one definitely felt closer for sure.
Closer?
Definitely felt
Yeah.
closer, yeah.
Okay.
A tier.
A tier?
The previous one is S tier. This one will be A tier.
Oh, okay. How much do you think this one is? How would you rate it?
How much do I rate it? This one will be 7.5 out of 10.
7.5. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And how much do you think this one is? Price?
This one will be the 99 one.
And anyone? 99? Okay, alright. So right off the bat, Max had some fit issues with the Mark III, which I'm not surprised because it's one of the bigger IEMs, but funny enough, the Monarchs actually fit better for Leffen. So this again goes back to the whole ear anatomy thing and how it affects not only the fit, but more importantly, the overall sound. As Max later mentioned, the combination of the fit and the weight affected his overall enjoyment. You know, he said he couldn't listen to it for a very long time. And possibly the insertion made things sound sharper or less smooth versus the LTD, which is a better fit for him. Both noticed the increase in the amount of bass, and Leffen preferred this more exciting and punchier sound over the quote-unquote technically better LTD, which, you know, addresses the whole importance of personal enjoyment and subjectivity in this hobby, as well as the topic of more expensive does not necessarily equals being better. However, I was curious if they could tell the difference between the Hype 2 and the Mark 3s, which are very similar in tuning, and of course, how the Olina stacks up against the more expensive sets. Okay, Max, this one is the Hype 2.
I think this is the worst one so far.
Oh shit, alright.
Everything sounds a lot muddier, and the bass is heavier as well. I think there's too much bass in my personal preference as well. And the bass is muddier, so I think it's too much for me.
What about the vocals?
The vocals, shit, it's the same again. It's the same.
The same thing?
I can't tell the difference between
Okay,
them.
yeah.
But if I have to give the first place, it will be the first one I tested. I think that one
The LTD, right?
Yeah, just a little bit clearer in everything.
Okay, this is the Olina SE.
The smallest one.
Smallest one?
Yeah, smallest one. It's very light, very light. Too light, hard to get a seal in, you know. I think all across the board, this one just feels a little bit low quality. The vocal is less clear. This feels very familiar to my Cell Note Zero, which is a $20 one. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to give this the $99 one.
Okay, what about the one before it?
The one before it, I'll bump it up to $299.
Okay.
And then the first one, I'll give the one that's 1K.
12.99.
$12.99.
Yeah.
And then the
And then
second
99.
one, yeah.
Like, how would you rate all of them out of 10?
This one will be 6.5. This one,
Okay.
6.5. The previous one, the Hype.
Yeah.
The third one, it will be 7.5.
Okay.
And then the second one will be 8.
Okay.
The first one will be 8.5.
See, good quality.
Alright, left in this is the Olina SE.
Build quality here is a bit off, man. It doesn't have that shiny glow to it. That's why it's trash.
Dude,
Trash.
It's spoiled by the 1K one.
Yeah, this one sucks.
Listen to the entire thing first.
Man, yeah, this one is.
No?
Like, it's definitely better than. Maybe. It's not even better than the cheap one I have. I think this is a 5. And this, if Olina is selling this for $99, I think it's a rip off.
Oh
Actually,
shit.
I don't know. Yeah. My cheap headphone sounds the same or better, maybe.
What do you not like about it?
There's almost, compared to the first two, there's like no clarity to it.
Okay.
It sounds like low quality. It sounds like 480p.
Oh shit, okay. What do you think? What about the bass and like the vocals and stuff?
Yeah.
No?
Nuh-uh.
Nope. You don't like the bass on it?
No bass, muddy bass.
Okay.
No vocal, muddy vocal.
Okay, Leffen, this is the Hype 2.
Oh, this was pretty good. Oh, it's pretty good too. No, I can't really tell the difference between this one and the second one for sure.
Alright, what are your thoughts on the Hype 2 compared to the others?
I still like the second one better. It has, I think everything sounds very clear, very punchy on the second one.
Okay.
This one is pretty good too. This one is pretty good too. I'm hoping that, I think this is the this is the $299 one.
Okay.
And the second one is the $12.99.
Fine, okay.
The most,
Yeah.
the best.
Okay.
And then the first one is the
$9.99 one.
$9.99. Wait, no, I like the second one the most. This one, and then the first one.
Okay, so this would be number 2.
Number 3.
Oh,
What? Number 2. Sorry.
okay.
Stupid. Number 2. First one. Number 3.
Yeah.
The last one. The last one.
Okay. As you just heard from Leffen, the Olina is now officially quote-unquote trash. Confirmed. Just get a Monarch, guys. Come on, that's only like what, $1,000? Jokes aside, I think the Olina is still competitive under $100 when you get it on sale, even with all these hybrids releasing, like the Fudu, the Sonus, and the EM6L, because the Olina still got its staging going on. Obviously, don't expect Monarch levels of resolution and performance, but yeah, I think I did ruin their years a bit with the LTD, but it seemed like they both enjoyed the Hype 2, and what Max said was pretty accurate, not as clean as the Monarchs. Vocals are very similar. I mean, just look at the graph. And Leffen also nailed it regarding the clarity. So far the feedback I'm getting is similar to my own and other audiophiles, so I think they should just become audiophiles at this point. But let's see what their final thoughts are on this whole audiophile IEM thing.
Is it Turtle Beach?
Turtle Beach.
Yeah, the Turtle one has the worst one.
Based off of the design alone, which ones do you think
Let's
is the most expensive? Yeah, start with the cheapest one.
The Turtle one, the cheapest.
Okay, so the Olina SE is the
Agreed.
cheapest. Agreed?
Alright,
Agreed,
go for
okay.
this one. The $299 one. Who's gonna try that?
Which one?
I'm just kidding. This one.
Okay, alright.
Let me see this one.
Oh, same thing.
Same pick?
Oh, wow. Okay.
Wow, alright.
Yeah,
This is a little crazy. Too crazy.
Okay.
Okay, now for the $999.
I think this one.
What's this one?
It's got the Japanese vibes to it.
Can you put it closer with Leffen?
It's got some nice patterns, like flowers.
Okay. So this is the Monarch Mark II. Monarch Mark II. And then
This is my choice for the $999.
that's the Prestige.
Okay, the Prestige.
Yeah.
It's a little black coat. And then
Prestige LTD. That's the, yeah. Okay. And then the last one. What about?
For me, this one is the most expensive. Look at it. Every angle you look at, it looks different. Look at it. It looks different. It's got the universe in there.
Okay. And then I'm gonna go with the Monarch.
Monarch Mark III.
Yeah, I think this is the simplest one. So
Okay.
I think usually the simpler one is not the expensive one.
Alright. Okay. Alright. So for the big reveal, the $99 one is the Olina SE. So both of you guys got that right. The turtle one. Yeah. And for the $299 one is the Hype 2.
Which is the third one.
The third one, yeah.
Yes, I got it right. Yeah.
And you guys got that right as well. For the $999 one,
Shit, man.
it's the Monarch Mark III. So that's the silver one.
Which is
This one.
Yeah. So Leffen got it right for the design, but he didn't get it right for
Right,
the sound.
So this is actually the first one we tried.
This is the
second
second
one.
one.
This is the big- this is the big
This is the one you like the most. That's the
Yeah.
one.
And there's a second place, buddy.
$999.
Oh, you mean okay.
For sound. Yeah. And then the last place, the number one is Prestige LTD. So Max got all of them right for the sound, and Leffen got all of them right for the design.
Wow.
Which is pretty good. Like
What does
Max,
that mean? What does that mean?
I don't know. It means you should be audiophile.
$999.
Yeah.
This one is
expensive.
This one is how much?
That's the $12.99.
$12.99. This is the first one.
That's the first one. I
see.
So as you can tell, you can have like different preferences, even though one is more expensive.
Yeah.
So you like that one the best because that one actually does have more bass. That one has the most bass.
That's why it's a
Yeah. I don't know how that works. So for the Prestige, as you guys were both correct in that it has light bass. It does have light bass, but it does have the most detail. I think Max has got a good year for that. So But yeah, what are your thoughts on this whole experience?
It's super fun. I've never put something so expensive on my ear before.
Okay.
So this is a new experience for me. Kind of a bummer though, because it means that if I want quality, I really have to spend.
Would you actually spend $1,000 on it, or would you get something like cheaper and just be okay with it? Do you think it's worth the $1,000 or like over the other prices?
$1,000, that's like a $800 increase. I don't know about that. I think maybe if I get it second hand,
Yeah,
that's,
okay.
that's the only way I would buy a $1,000 IEMs.
I think it's worth it if you save up for it. But if you really want to get something right now, maybe the $299 is a pretty good option. But there's a huge, for me, I think there's a huge drop in quality between $299 and the $999 one.
Well, what's the main difference in quality?
For me, the clarity, like it's so punchy.
So if your favorite IEM out of those four is out of 100, is 100%, so 10 out of 10, what would the other three be compared to those?
The Monarch, which is the second one, right?
Yeah.
That one would be 90%.
Okay.
And then the third one would be 80%. And then the last one, the 99 one, that'll be 50%.
Oh shit, 50%.
Yeah, 50%.
Okay.
Yeah, the cheapest one for me would be like 20%.
Oh shit, 20%.
Or 30, yeah, and most 30, because
Okay.
you just, you know, after trying the good ones.
Okay.
And then the $299 one would be 60% or 70%, 70%.
Okay.
The first one, the most expensive one for me is like maybe 80.
Okay.
And then yeah, the second one, 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
Mm.
If someone were to choose between, let's say they have the Olina SE, so the cheapest one right now, which one would you recommend them? Like, which one do you think is worth paying extra money for?
I mean, it depends on your financial situation. I think you should save up, go for the 1K, get a used one or something.
Is the difference worth it?
I think it's worth it.
Okay.
If you're gonna listen to music every day and enjoy it, or if you're gonna be using to mix or something, I think the second one or the first one is a good option.
Okay.
Yeah.
I agree. Exactly what you said.
Okay. Well, there you have it from non-reviewer. Thank you, Leffen and Max, for doing this.
Thank you.
So I did not expect the Monarchs to be recommended by a non-audiophile coming to this, but here we are. This was just such a fun and informative learning experience for myself, and maybe you guys as well, just seeing the reactions from regular people to some of the most highly acclaimed IEMs. So please thank Leffen and Max for the time. Don't worry, I paid them in fried chicken. But it does seem like the gap in terms of performance is there. The difference was noticeable or even pretty obvious with the Hype 2 and the Olina, according to Leffen. The tricky part is that the diminishing returns. Personally, I believe as long as an IEM is giving you some form of enjoyment that's very, worth it to you, then I think it's worth it. But I also did pay almost $1,600 for a channel imbalance, so I'll just quote the wise words from the legend himself.
I need to get one of these.
Fuck, for real. Dude, genius.
I need to get one of these.
With all that said, thanks for watching guys, and I'll see everyone in the next video.